US 94.7, Hank T. Moon, in studio honored guest, Mr. Will Rhodes of Will Rhodes Band. Welcome, Will.
Hey, thank you very much for having me, Hank. I appreciate that.
I love this, man. I appreciate you hanging out with me. I love doing this. You guys are the guys that write the soundtrack to our lives, man. And when we ever get to talk to you, me and the listener love it. What made you start doing this?
Man, I suppose what made me start doing this was my dad having a guitar back when I was very young. And I saw everybody on MTV and all the outlets and all the attention and all the girls, and I said, you know, when the rock hard abs weren't coming in just like I was hoping right around 13, I said, let's go with plan B, and that's picking up a guitar.
Well said, man.
I appreciate that.
That to me sounds like true, if not organic, motivation.
Man, there's nothing like money and women to really motivate you in your artistic endeavors.
Well, how's it going?
Man,
with the money and the women.
Well, let's say there's a lot to be accomplished on the financial and on the female side. But I will tell you, we put a lot of smiles on faces, we put a lot of tears on cheeks, and you know, we're accomplishing what we really want to do, and that's, at the end of the day, Hank, I got into this because I want to make people feel something with music again.
Excellent, brother. I like that. And speaking of exactly that, tomorrow night we are gracing the humble presence of everyone in attendance. We will be at Brewster Street Ice House downtown. That's right, the big one. For the first time, we've played down there a couple times, opening up for Krager and John Wolfe. But tomorrow night, the Will Rhodes Band will be headlining Brewster Street Ice House. We have the wonderful Keaton Kaiser opening up for us out of Johnson City at 7:45 to 8:45, and the Will Rhodes Band takes stage at 9 p.m. at Brewster Street Ice House, downtown Corpus Christi, Texas. Tremendous. I've been checking this stuff out. It should be, if nothing else, a high-energy show.
Man, I'm telling you, it's not only high energy, but it's emotional. We get people into it. And hell, put your dancing shoes on, because this music will put a little boogie in your woogie for sure. I'm playing with some amazing musicians, and, well, I call this band 3 amazing musicians and 1 hell of an entertainer.
Hey, use that.
Man,
I'm sure you are. I guess, I don't know if they have the winter configuration still set up, brother, but technically indoor show.
Technically indoor. We got a roof over our head. The rain's stopping tomorrow morning, but I'll tell you what, I think the weather is going to be perfect, because you're going to be in there dancing. Just as you start to feel that bead of sweat running down your head, you're going to say, man, it feels pretty good in there. And as always, the beer and cocktails are ice cold at Brewster Street.
Tomorrow night, Brewster downtown, Will Rhodes Band. Let's play some tracks, man. Set something up for me, brother.
So let's go with our first one. This is the single that actually 94.7 has been playing on the daily a couple of times, and I got to tell you, thank you so much for that. That's the first time we've had our stuff on the radio, and so we're going to be tied at the hip for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, be careful, man.
You be careful.
Be careful.
that goes both ways, but we're setting this up. I mean, you know, only if you're up for a lifetime of good times, and like we said, the music and the females, that's well on its way. But we're setting this one up. This is a track we call Bleed. And this is a song I wrote about 10 years ago. And we actually put this one out to the fans to see which single we were going to go with first, and this one was a resounding yes. And you guys have been spinning it here on your station, and I want to thank you personally for that. And yeah, so this is Bleed by the Will Rhodes Band.
More coming up. Stay with us.
Say now that we're through, baby, you know that's just not true. to these arms you used to roll. Yeah. Well, now I walk alone, with no place that I call home. Is this how it's gonna be? My life, my love, slowly bleed. Now is it me, or is it someone else? Baby, our love's just dying on the shelf. And well, I'm just so sick of trying. Yeah. Now you left me so damn far behind. Whoa, yeah. Well, now I walk alone, with no place that I call home. Is this how it's gonna be? My life, my love, slowly bleed. Slowly, slowly bleed. Slowly, slowly bleed. Slowly, these wounds will start to heal. One day, again this heart will learn to feel. And I'm only stronger from the pain. And you back turn on living back. Well, now I walk alone, every damn place that I call home. This is how you had to have it to be. My life, my love, bleed.
Hank T. Moon in the afternoon, in studio guest, honored in studio guest, and I do mean that, Will Rhodes, Will Rhodes Band, live tomorrow night. Where, brother?
We are taking it live at Brewster Street Ice House downtown.
Excellent. Excellent, man. It's going to be some good stuff. Okay, this record, we're previewing some tracks today. It's called...
This record is called Hookers and Heartache.
I love it.
I hope you do, because there's just something... Oh, well, don't we all? And just remember, we're not paying for sex. We're paying for them to leave, Hank. That's just a nice little joke there. But yeah, we're going with a nice contrast there, because, well, how can you fall in love with a hooker? And I'm telling you, the heart loves what the heart loves.
Nice, very nice. Okay, man. So let's talk a little bit about songwriting.
Yeah,
A guy that has the cojones. I put out a record called Hookers
and Heartaches.
In this day and age, you must be motivated by...
Man, I tell you,
When songwriting?
well, when it comes to songwriting, I'm motivated by personal experience, and very much so, as Sir Paul McCartney said, poetic license.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been really drawn to songs that, in the most simple essence, they make you feel something. And there's nothing like some nice contrast, some nice honor, some nice irony, and above all else, you know, songs that people can relate to on some level, whether, you know, they've been through the situation, or hell, they're just happy that they're not going through that situation. Because lest we never forget, Hank, sad songs make people happy.
Yeah. Well said, brother. When are you happy with a tune?
Man, I am happy when a tune, when I can play it for people, and people for one brief moment stop what they're doing, stop their conversation, they look at me, and I can feel that a connection has been made, and that we touch on a certain vibe, on a certain emotion, on a certain feeling that reminds them that, hey, you're not alone.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And in the songwriting, the creative process of that, that would be the goal.
Man,
I suppose.
Yeah, it's really, at the end of the day, I try to keep it as simple as possible. I'm just trying to write songs that make people feel something.
Yeah. All right, bro. Let's hit another track.
Let's do it.
Off of Hookers and Heartaches.
Off of Hookers and Heartache. This will be the next single we got coming out. And like I try to always remind everyone, and when I'm reminding people, I'm talking to myself, fall down 7 times, get up 8. And everybody loves a comeback story, and everybody loves somebody who's fallen down, stumbled and fallen, but they've gotten back up rather than never stumbling at all. This next track is a little tribute to redemption. This track is called On the Mend.
Well, I've been medicating myself through the tough times. Weed and pills, 90 proof and cheap wine. See, I've been down that lonely road enough times to know the streets are never paved with gold. The good times seem harder to hold. If I blink my eyes, well, I might grow old. So I can hold on tight till that feeling's right. Take your time, oh baby, I got all night. Start mending this broken heart where there's a hole. Well, it takes a little bit more than it used to keep my mind straight after the bad news. There's bills need paying, well, I ain't got no job to lose. But so much of my story ain't even been told, and I might be shaking, well, I ain't cold. Sometimes a winning hand, well, it means you fold. So I can hold on tight till that feeling's right. Well, take your time, baby, I got all night. Start mending this broken heart where there's a hole, where there's a hole. Yeah. And just when I think that I've had enough, life reminds me that I really ain't that tough. 2 more drinks, I'm probably leaving here in cuffs. I said now 2 more drinks, you know I'm leaving here in cuffs. Well, just like my
Hey, T-Moon in the afternoon. In studio, honored guest Will Rhodes. Will Rhodes Band live tomorrow night at Brewster Street Ice House. Who's this cat you got opening up, man?
Yeah, this is, you know what, this is a message to all aspiring musicians out there, as I am. This is a kid, Keaton Kaiser. He's a kid that hails from Johnson City, and there's a lot of good music that's come from that town, straight off the 281. But this is a kid who came and saw us last December. We were opening up for Tyler Braden and David Nail up in New Braunfels. And this kid came up to me after the show, and he had that look in his eye. You know, it reminded me of Shooting Star by Bad Company. You know, the kid coming up to you, and this kid has had the wherewithal, as we said, the cojones, and just the drive to stay in touch with me and constantly, I won't say badgering me about any opportunities to open up for us, and the kid is humble enough to really want advice. And the only advice I ever give is, of course, through my own failure, and it's the best teacher of all. But this kid has constantly stayed in touch with me, and I've watched him grow as an artist, and I watch him continue to grow. And so it's kind of become a little project of mine. Unlike a lot of people, this kid listens, but he's got that fire and that passion. He's got a hell of a voice, and I see a lot of potential in him. He just picked up a drummer, so he'll be doing a little acoustic with drummer set, and he's got great energy, and he's pretty damn entertaining, and it's almost as fun watching him succeed as it is my own band. So Keaton Kaiser, and if you guys get a chance, check him out. I think he's got some stuff out there, and if not, he will soon.
We can see him tomorrow night.
Yeah, hell
It's
yeah.
always cool, man, to see these guys, these young cats come out there and just kill it, man, right?
Absolutely. And what I really love is just his passion, his desire, his follow through. And the kid's got the energy, but he's also got the humility as well. Not to mention, just as, you know, you got to be in my band and other, he's a handsome devil.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That ain't gonna hurt.
That never hurts, and so I'm wishing all the best for Keaton. And if y'all get there early, have a few drinks before 7:45, Keaton Kaiser and his drummer are going to be heating it up for us.
Cool, very cool. Will Rhodes in US 94.7 studio, getting ready for a big show tomorrow night. Brewster downtown. A lot of folks have hit that stage. A lot of folks made their reputation on that very stage. Some
bones have been made down at Brewster Street, and that's precisely how we're looking at it. I've opened up for people there, and it was always a great time. But, you know, anytime you've been to a venue like that, and let's face it, outside of, you know, American Bank, which is, it's a little more on the, higher routine side of the touring, and Concrete Street, another great venue. Do love that, and we've played there as well. But Brewster Street, for me, is Corpus Christi, Texas. And there have been a lot of great bands come through there, and a lot of great bands that have played there and gone on to do much bigger things, as the Will Rhodes Band plans on doing. But I just want to put out a little shout out to Sam Canavati, who had the faith in us, and the general manager there, Bree, is wonderful. She's the one who set this up, and they've really embraced it. And it's nice every once in a while to feel like you got a little hometown advantage.
Yeah, man. There you go. That's right. This is your sacred ground, bro.
Born and raised Corpus Christi, Texas. Ray High School, class of 92. We're honest around here, but you know what? I've been fortunate. I got a drastic case of the Benjamin Buttons, and as long as this hair keeps growing and I'm feeling as young as I do at heart, I don't mind giving people my age.
Oh, dude, I graduated in 1976.
Yeah, now that's back when it was cool to graduate from high school.
See, well, yeah, just getting there. You were lucky, man. So this age thing.
And Hank, you're looking just as young and sounding just as young as ever, and I do feel like, as cliche as it sounds, age is a state of mind.
I'm just going to have to pay you $50 for that. It'll be in the mail, brother.
I appreciate that.
We're previewing tracks in support of this Brewster Downtown show tomorrow night. along with Keaton Kaiser.
You got it.
I'm going to check that out.
I appreciate it.
Kaiser. But anyway, Will Rhodes of Will Rhodes Band, Hookers and Heartaches, the now available record.
Now, this record, not quite available because it's all, hey, you know what? I like it anyway, but we're following kind of that recipe of, we've got the single Bleed out. The record's ready to go, but there are people much smarter than me in this industry that have advised me to, kind of just take the route of putting out a single at a time. Then you'll have your complete EP. Keep putting them out till you have the record, and that formula seems to work pretty darn well with the public. As far as I hate to say it, and I hate to play these games, but keep the mouth watering, keep them satiated just to the point of one more song, and then they'll get the full thing. But when it comes to stuff like that, I just follow the advice of the professionals who make that their job. So.
Okay, man. Yeah, watch out.
That's good advice too.
Where'd you do it at, man?
I appreciate that. I take all advice seriously, even the bad advice. But we recorded this record up at the Mosaic Sound Exchange, which is pretty interesting because this place is no longer in existence. They did away with it last December. But more importantly, we recorded this record with Charles Godfrey, and I'll do a little plug for him. You can find him at scary_American on Instagram and obviously online. A little background on Charles, consummate professional. Charles hails out of Sonic Ranch Studios in El Paso. Now, everybody under the sun who's made it has recorded at Sonic Ranch, which was once a pecan farm and still supplies the country with a fifth of its pecans, which is bizarre. But now they've built 9 world-class studios, and I think the big draw for that studio is you stay there at the studio, and I think the labels really like that because can't anybody go out and get in any trouble when you're staying actually on premises.
Well, except for the Dirty River Boys, but that's beside the point.
Well, maybe even the Will Rhodes Band, but we'll see. But Charles opened up shop in Austin, Texas, and some good friends of mine recommended him, and he did a phenomenal job recording and mixing this record and doing a little producing as well. And so I always want to put a little shout out. Thank you, Charles. Love you, man.
The company you keep, how important, sir?
That's what I tell Keaton Kaiser and all the youngins. You want the only advice I can give you? Surround yourself with good people.
Yeah, especially a band, right?
God, and I'm very fortunate there.
As a band leader, that's a responsibility?
Man, absolutely. And luckily, I've got a band of Eric Hughes, we refer to as the Mother Load, handsome, huge devil up on lead guitar and backup vocals. And I've known him since high school. We got the respectful Mr. Anderson, keeping those bass lines so chunky they can't fit through the door. And then we got the beast of the beats, the titan of tempo, the prince of percussion, Mr. Thomas Fuchik on drums. And these guys are my sanity, and I'm fortunate to have a band that pretty much I'm the only one that parties. How about it?
Wow, okay. Well, we're not going to go deep into that. No. How long has this particular lineup been together, bro?
Man, we've been together for about 3 years now, and take it how you want it. It seems like it's an eternity.
Well, in this business, man, I'm no expert, but that's a long time.
You never really hear about bands staying together a long time unless it's, the Aerosmiths or, the Led Zeppelins, the classic rock bands of the 70s, which are my iconic bands. But I tell you what, this band has all the makings of greatness, and we have all the right personalities, and everybody is very comfortable playing their role. And last but not least, I'm playing with some world-class musicians.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That helps, right?
Makes a difference.
I mean, duh. But I mean, as far as the creative vision goes, guys that can pull it off?
Absolutely. And, I will say that in that part of role-playing, these guys know that the creative vision lies almost entirely with me. Now, they will rein me into a bit here. My boys always make great recommendations, especially when it comes to the melodies and the song arrangements. these guys really help me because they're such professionals. They help me really keep things lean, keep it under 4 minutes, because I've been known to write an 8-minute song, Hank. And they really keep me dialed in as far as like how far we want to push the envelope. But when it comes to the words, that's kind of like my holy sanctity. And being a journalism major from the wonderful University of Texas at Austin, hook 'em horns. If we want to change a word, we're going to have to talk about that. But as far as like arrangements, melodies, I lean on these boys all day long.
Vocabulary.
Yes.
Vernacular.
Yeah. It matters.
It matters.
Yeah. I come from a long line of English teachers, my grandmother, and who used to send me our thank you cards to write to her. She was big on that, in red ink, corrected.
Man.
My mother is a huge stickler for proper English, and she will be happy to correct me mid-song in front of thousands. But I do love my mother. And I will say that, if you can take the time to listen to the words of these songs. I also come from a mother who is a big Johnny Cash fan as myself, and with those older guys, you never had to struggle to understand what they were saying. And so that's kind of the school of where I am, and I have the lovely Miss Catherine Mose. She is my vocal coach. And let me just put something out to you singers out there. If you want to take your stuff to the next level, get yourself a vocal coach. Get yourself somebody who can sit outside the situation and listen and tell you where we can take these songs. Humility is everything in this game, and if you can't take constructive criticism, just get out right now, because let me tell you what, it's 95% people telling you how things can get better, but when you reach a point in your life where you realize, hey, that's one less thing I got to figure out, you're on the right path.
Boy, I'd drive your family crazy if they listened to me on the radio when it comes to proper English, brother.
Probably.
It was once said about Frank Sinatra that Frank Sinatra did more for diction, right?
Absolutely.
Let me make sure I get it right.
No,
and the English language than anyone, or a lot of people.
And I agree. And I personally think it's just an issue of like, if you are 100% confident in the words that you are speaking, don't you want them to hear those words? And I'm all for, creating a vibe and, kind of this and that.
Well, there's plenty of that.
But, I really lean on the boys with the sound and the music there. But I want everybody to understand every word that I'm saying, because I'm trying to grab a hold of your heart,
And in the lyric, this makes sense.
Yeah. And for me, oh, man, lyrics are everything. And I want to be honest, I wish success for every single artist on the planet. But I do feel like we are kind of in a state of lack of lyrical focus. I'll leave it at that.
Amen, brother. Well said. I'm glad you said that. Dylan probably drives you crazy, huh?
Well, man, I mean, he drive me crazy on the inside, like crazy good, because the things that he was presenting, especially at that time, and this is funny, and just a little segue, my mom was just speaking about how Wake Up Little Susie, she was watching it, especially with the Everly Brothers, and when Wake Up Little Susie, about a boy and a girl who had fallen asleep in their car at the drive-in, it was taboo. You couldn't even speak about this, and a lot of like stations in Boston and on the East Coast wouldn't play it because it was too racy. We've come a long way, baby.
Yes, we have. Will Rhodes Band, live, Brewster Street Ice House, downtown. And tomorrow night, nice enough to be hanging out in studio today, previewing some tracks. I don't ask people ever to describe their sound because we can play the tracks. I don't really ask people about influences, but you kind of touched on it a little bit with the classic rock thing, man.
Man, this is a real easy one. Mellencamp, Skinnerd, Petty, Seeger. I feel really good. And then, of course, the Waylon Jennings, the Willie Nelson, the Johnny Cash. But those are the things that we listen to nonstop. And, of course, I'd be remiss if I left out Led Zeppelin, of course, my favorite, AC/DC. And AC/DC is another example than Creedence Clearwater Revival. You can make 1 million hits with 3 chords.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can, man. Okay, it's always interesting to go here, man, because as we've evolved in this, lack of a better term, we call it Texas music, to have a formula attached to it, a genre. We all know genre.
Yeah.
Our favorite stripper.
Well, oh man, now you're speaking my language. But I like to put our genre. People like to identify things, and people want to know where do you fit. And it's a very select genre we like to call kick-ass.
Well said.
Yeah. But, if you want to pigeonhole us into a certain genre, you're going to struggle, because just when you think that we're outlaw country, we come out with a rockin' tune that sounds like Southern rock. And just when you think we're Southern rock, then we got kind of a little, faster pace, kind of almost pop country one. But ultimately at the end of the day, we kind of nestle in nicely in that Southern rock, outlaw Americana, outlaw country, bad boy, but good boys. And good music. But at the end of the day, a genre is a genre until you make a song that's not in it.
Right. That's exactly right. Thanks for correcting me, brother. But it's evolved into this thing with all of those bands and a lot more that you just mentioned, man.
Yeah. Did you watch the Country Music Television Awards the other night on Monday?
A little bit.
Okay. Brief. They had a tribute. Country Music Television had a tribute to ZZ Top.
Mm-hmm.
They had a tribute to Leonard Skinner. They had the Black Crowes performing. Now, call me a genre buster or whatever, but I don't think anybody's ever called any of those. And I think we've seen the transformation. Rock music 20 years ago is country now. And everything just keeps evolving, just to the point of where it's like, you know what? I used to, and you may not know this, but I worked for Elton John for 6 years when I moved to Los Angeles to be an actor after University of Texas. And Elton John, who's a classic rocker, he had Tumbleweed Connection stuff where they were experimenting with country. The Rolling Stones, they were rockers, and then they kind of had their little experiment with country music. And I think that true artists like Sturgill Simpson, who refuses to be pigeonholed into anything, who made a sci-fi rock album to be the backtrack for an anime movie, and that's a great album. I think it's called The Fast and the Fury or something. But artists are artists, and I think that at the risk of ever becoming complacent or bored, we all like to branch out into new sounds.
Okay, man, you have to come back. I am remiss, and that's my bad.
Yeah.
We got to talk about you working with Elton John.
Sure.
Here we get. I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah, man.
What'd you learn from that?
Man, I learned that number one, there's celebrity and there's working when you're 22 years old and you got $30 in your bank account. There is a major divide between those two, and if you don't remind yourself on the daily to still get excited about those little shampoos in the hotel room, it can get wildly out of control. And just stay humble out there, guys. And I want to say that Elton, everybody in Elton's camp, they treated me like family, and they treated me extremely well. And I've got nothing but a debt of gratitude for those guys. We worked in that, and I also worked with the Elton John AIDS Foundation, and we did the Academy Awards party every year. And through that Academy Awards party, you can see how grotesquely it can get out of control. And I guess the biggest thing lesson I learned is don't ever get too big for your britches, and don't ever forget to, care about human beings, and don't ever think that money makes you, and this is not applying to Elton, this is the other celebrities that I had exposure to, because Elton was on, those guys were always very good to me. But don't ever think that money for 1 second makes you better than anybody else, because you know what? A homeless guy can go win the lotto. And also, be generous, man. Only thing fun to do with money is giving it away anyway. Just hopefully not to strippers all the time.
Well, hopefully.
Hopefully. But that's kind of fun too.
Yeah, well, they deserve it.
Yeah.
They work hard for the money.
Yeah, indeed.
They work hard for the money, man.
Yeah, sell your soul.
And who knows? You put one through college, you maybe save the world.
I mean, he's exactly talking about the 501c3 nonprofit that I've been really, entertaining with my band, but they haven't let me follow through with.
Well, Will Rhodes. Well, really, man, I'd love to have you back, and we'll talk more about this Elton John stuff and the background that got you to where we are right now with Hookers and Heartaches.
I'm
Got
having a
another
blast. I appreciate you, Hank. I'm having a blast with you.
Hookers and Heartaches. We got one more track.
Yeah. So this last track, before we play this, I'm going to say, if you're driving, pull over. Because this one's going to put the boogie in your woogie. This one right here is a dancing track that's so much fun. And I think I can say this on the radio, but this track is what really gave us our whole band mantra, which is smells good. So if you tell me, hey, we're going to go do this, hey, man, that sounds good, I say smells good, because we have a line in this song that says, say you don't much care for cocaine, you just like the smell. Smells good.
A little taste.
A little taste.
A little taste of what? A little taste of what you can have tomorrow night live.
Yeah, this here is Coming In Too Fast.
Coming In Too Fast. Brewster Street Ice House, downtown, tomorrow night. The Will Rhodes Band. Thank you, Will.
Man, thank you, Hank. Really a pleasure meeting you, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to have me in studio with you.
Anything we can do to help, man, because we're helping ourselves.
And we'll take all the help we can get.
We're helping ourselves, too, man. Remember, Brewster Street Ice House, tomorrow night, live, downtown. Website, I didn't hit your website.
It is willrhodes.band. Now you can put willrhodesband.com and all that. It'll go right to it, but it's willrhodes.band. Go check it out. Appreciate that.
Well, they send you off like a scalded hound. You keep finding your way back. Out at night with the morning light, well, on the wrong side of the tracks. And ever since you said goodbye, you've been blazing up a trail. Destined life for love, you got no choice but to fail. And you're coming in too fast. You're coming in too fast. You're coming in too fast. When your foot's too heavy on the gas. Coming in too fast. Well, your whiskey tongue and your bleeding eyes, they got you standing way too close. Drinking your last dollar, Lord, well, the rest is up your nose. Reckless weaving on your own highway to hell. See, you don't much care for cocaine, you just like the smell. Smells good. And you're coming in too fast. You're coming in too fast. You're coming in too fast. Wait, it's too heavy on the gas. And you're never ever gonna last. Coming in too fast. Well, your deck deals from the bottom. You got aces up your sleeve. Saying everything you want, well, 'cause that's just what you need. The hurricane lights you blow, professing to be true. Paying every debt you owe, with a pistol in your boot. Well, your hourglass is almost done. The hurt you cause is what you call fun. No conscience to carry, well, it weighs a ton. The only courage in your hand is when you've got a gun. Whoop, yeah! And you're coming in too fast.